Pastor Jim here with the Rise Soul Center and the 5-Minute Manager. And today I'm going to be talking about how to manage the storms of life. And so, are you going through a storm right now in your life? Or maybe you just come through one. If you've answered no to both of those, then maybe one's around the corner, or you even know somebody that's going through a storm, and this might be helpful to them. So today what I want to do is, since this channel is all about teaching you how to manage your faith life, what I want to do is give you 3 tips on how you can manage through the storms of life. So hey, if you're new here to the Rise Soul Center YouTube channel, make sure you click the subscribe button down below. So hey, let's start talking about those 3 tips that I promised you. The first 2 are found in Mark chapter 4, and the last one is found in Mark chapter 6. And so this first tip that I want to give you is that we need to, when we get these storms in our life, we need to replace the fear of the storm, the fear of the circumstance or the situation. We need to replace that with the fear and reverence and awe of our amazing God. And so in Mark chapter 4, starting in verse 35 through 41, you see the disciples are in a boat with Jesus, and this great storm kicks in, and they're fearful of the situation and circumstances around them until they wake Jesus up, and he calms the storm by just saying, "Peace, be still." And then it says at the end of that section that they're filled with fear of Jesus. And that's an awe. It's an amazement of how great he is. And that's when we start to right size our battles, when we realize that our God is bigger than anything we're going through. And our God always wins, and those who follow him win also. The second tip that I'd like to help us with here today is asking the right question when we're going through the storms of our faith life. And so the disciples are in this boat, and the storm's overwhelming them, and they wake Jesus up and they ask him this question: "Don't you even care that we're going through this?" And I think maybe the situations and circumstances of our lives cause us to ask questions like that, like are you awake? Are you there? Do you even care? And I think we all know the answer to that God is always aware, God is always near, and God always cares. And so what I read in Mark chapter 4, when Jesus wakes up and says to the winds and the waves to "Peace, be still," and everything is silent, that might be the clue for the question we have to ask our God during our circumstances, during our storms, is instead of asking, "Do you care?" ask the question, "Will you speak peace into my situation?" And our God of all great power can bring peace to that situation. And if not in the circumstances or in the situations, he can certainly bring that peace inside your heart. Here's the third tip. Mark chapter 6, 45 through 52, the disciples find themselves in another stormy situation in a boat. All the same kinds of circumstances going on around them, except this time in the distance a lightning flashes and they see a person walking towards them on the water, and they think it's a ghost. So now they got that fear this time around, till they realize it's Jesus. And then he comes and he sits in the boat with them, and the scriptures say everything's quiet again, right? Everything calms down. And so the third tip for you is that when the storms of life get so overwhelming, what I'd love for you to do is just go sit in a quiet place for 1 minute. Close your eyes, and I want you to visualize this massive storm of a situation that you have. And there you are sitting in your boat. And I want you to visualize a crack of lightning off in the distance. And what you see is you see your great God. And he's not running from the storm. He's not running away from you. He's heading towards the storm. He's heading towards you. And when he gets to the boat of your faith life and he steps in, when you allow him to come into that boat, all of a sudden there's a peace like no other that takes over. You see, just like the winds and just like the waves, our circumstances, the situations that are going on around us, they have no other choice but to obey our great God. And so I'd love for you to visualize how much our God cares for you and that he heads right to you to bring peace into your situation.